one. Fiddler's going to score. Fiddler, his farewell. His farewell. And he hits it. He's got it. He's got the field goal. He's got the premiership. He has gone from, as I said, a captain to a legend, and probably rugby league immortality. That's not a try. That's a miracle.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast. Bit of a disappointing night last night. Obviously we had two games of footy. I enjoyed both. Brisbane Broncos Roosters was a little bit controversial. Obviously the back end of that game was pretty crazy, and we'll touch on that during the week. The first game though, the St George Illawarra Dragons and Penrith Panthers. The Panthers ran out with that one, and obviously the Dragons, I think they had like 60% possession. They just weren't able to do anything with it. It was like they got into the red zone. They just completely shit the bed, and the guy that caught the most blame for it was Corey Norman. And look, do I defend Corey Norman how he played last night? No, like he played pretty poor. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I don't think there's any questioning that. And I think that the first person to admit that they played poorly would be Normie. I mean, he's always sort of been on the front foot with this stuff. He doesn't pretend like everything's hunky-dory. He owns up to when he's played shit. We've seen him do this before. I've heard him on his own on the boys' podcast talk about how when he has played shit, yeah, he's not a guy that hides away from this sort of stuff. And you know, the reality of rugby league is that when you play a poor game, people are going to jump on Twitter, Instagram, social media and give their thoughts and critique that player. And I don't have an issue with people critiquing players and how they play. It's when you sort of get personal that then we have an issue, because you don't know Normie from a bar of soap. Yeah, you've got no idea what sort of guy he is. You see 80% of him on a Saturday night, on a Friday night, which, you know, of a whole week, that's probably 0.5%. That's all you see of Normie. You don't see all the other stuff. You don't see him at training. You don't see how he deals with fans. You don't see when he's doing things for charity, when he's taking time out of his own day to go and do things for other people and not putting it all over his social media, which I know for a fact Normie has done on a number of occasions. You see the guy on a Sunday on TV trying to play a role in a team, and in a team that isn't really going overly well, yeah? I remember when Normie almost won the Dally M a couple of years ago, and he was the most popular guy in the world, yeah? His football hasn't been as good since then, and he just cops it left, right, and centre. And as I said, if you're giving a critique on his football play, I don't have a huge issue with it. It's when it gets personal that we have an issue. And last night, for me, it was taken to a new level. And I didn't see the post live myself, but I saw, obviously, Justin Horro shared it, YKT Arts Sports shared it. I saw the NRL Roast touch on it as well, and it's really scary what happened last night. Fox League decided that it was fair play for them to take all of the negative comments on Twitter and compile them into one post posted on the Instagram page. Now, for me, I just can't understand how, and look, I make content all the day, all the time, yeah? All day, every day, I'm making content, and I know with an Instagram post, and I think it was Lukey Stowe that posted this as well, and it's completely right. I mean, it takes a fair bit of time to make content, yeah? For them to go on Twitter, for them to type in the hashtag Dragons Penrith or whatever it was, and find and go through all of those comments to find every negative comment about Corey Norman they could, compile them, crop them, put them in an image. And then if you have a look at the image and you understand design, they've got a picture of Corey Norman, they've layered it with another picture of Corey Norman, and then they have taken that next layer and they've added other layers around it. That would have probably taken 20, 25 minutes for them to put together, yeah? Like, just from a design point of view, that would have taken them a fair whack of time to do. I imagine it would have been one person doing it that's put it together. But, I mean, at some point throughout that entire process of making that post, did they not sit there and go, is this fair play? Is this fair of us to compile every negative comment we can about a human being who had a bad day at his work and post it for our 250,000 followers to see? I mean, where do we get off here? Where on earth does someone making this post, and you know what, maybe whoever made it, maybe they were told from above to do it, yeah? Whatever it might be, the buck has got to stop at Fox League somewhere, though, because this is not sweet. This is not sweet. And I know a lot of people say, oh, just because it's Corey Norman, he's YKTR, the boys have got a platform, blah, blah. It doesn't matter that it's Corey Norman. It doesn't matter at all. And if you want to tell yourself that that's why people are upset, that's why I'm upset about it, then you are kidding yourself. You are living in a fantasy land. It is not okay to do this to players. It is not okay to do this to anyone. Once again, if you had a bad day at work and then 250,000 people saw a post on social media that was a heap of people compiling how poor you were today. Is that sweet? I don't think it is. I think it's complete and utter bullshit. And Fox League, being the entity they are and having the power they are, to essentially say, hey, cyberbullying is sweet, we're promoting it. It is just bullshit. It is absolute crap. And you might say, oh, they didn't promote it, but they did by posting it. They're normalizing it by posting it and turning it into something that is usual. It's bullshit. And you can tell as soon as they get called out, and Justin Horo makes the perfect point. He's like, don't you dare ever promote mental health or men's mental health or anything like that ever again, because you are heading in the opposite direction. You have literally publicly bullied Corey Norman. You've gone out of your way to do it, and it is absolute crap. And you know what happened? Fox League, put her in reverse. Beep, 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 delete the whole thing. Have they taken any accountability for it? No. Their post, their article that they had on their website, guess who wrote it? Take a wild fucking guess which name they put to this. You know, you already know. It was staff writers. That just screams cowards. Absolute cowards to go that far, to go to that much effort to make something, to write something criticizing one dude, essentially trying to bully one dude online, and then to not even put your name next to it. Staff writers. It is absolute bullshit. And you know, I feel sorry for Normie. From what we've gathered from what Justin Horo has said online, that he has checked in on Normie. He seems to be okay. And look, you know what the most fucked up thing about it is? It's the fact that Normie probably is okay, because this is like water off a duck's back to Normie, that he's been this guy on so many occasions that he's probably okay to deal with it. And for me, that's a bigger problem. That is the biggest problem of all, that we get certain guys in rugby league that become the fall guys, that become the guys that as soon as they trip, we're coming for you. It's been happening in rugby league for decades. You look at Jamie Soward in the late 2000s. He was winning a premiership and people were still looking for a reason to have a go at him. You look at Jackson Hastings. This is a young kid who was told for 6 years coming through the juniors, you're going to be a superstar, you're going to be one of the best we've ever seen, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And then he comes into rugby league and he's confident. And we try and rip him apart. We try and tear him down. All Fox League, all of these fucking publications go after a kid like that. We force him to go over to England. And you know what? I sat down with him to do an interview at the end of last season. And I remember watching Jacko playing footy when he was 15, 16, playing for the Dragons in Harold Matts and all that. And I was so impressed with him. Yes, he had a bit of swagger. Yes, he was super confident. You could call it arrogant. But because of what the media builds up, I honestly sat down there with Jackson Hastings in that interview and thought, oh, fuck, here we go. What sort of a guy am I going to get here? They built this narrative up in my head for years about Jackson Hastings being an asshole, being a prick, that when I sat down with him, I thought, oh, this will be interesting. I got 2 minutes in and I went, fuck, I would love to share 10 beers with this guy. I would love to sit at a pub with this guy and spend an afternoon watching footy with him, because he's a genuine bloke. This is nothing like the guy I thought he was. And then I sat back and thought, why did I think Jackson Hastings was going to be a prick? And it all came down to because the media paints a picture. Yeah, they're doing the same thing with Normie. They're doing it again. It is just bullshit. It is absolute crap. I cannot... And, you know, I've had people message me once again saying, oh, isn't it just because it's Normie that we're getting upset? And I was like, okay, fine. But let's say it's your brother, your son, you know, your dad that's in this situation where a huge media outlet compiles all the negative things that were said about that person, then puts it out there and doesn't even say that this shouldn't be happening. They just back it 100%. They put it out there. It's not fine. It doesn't matter whether it's Normie. It doesn't matter if it's Cameron Smith. It doesn't matter if it's fucking Gutherson. We all love it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Anthony Don. It doesn't matter who it is. That's not the point. It's the point that it's happened, and it's not sweet. It is not okay in our modern game to have things like this happening. And you know what? The biggest positive to come out of this for me, and it's a little bit of a silver lining, that's a little bit of a sideshow. It doesn't make anything better for... Well, to some extent, it does make things better for Normie. But it's the amount of people that messaged me and said, oh, it's so good to see media changing. And by media changing, they mean other pages that they're now starting to get their rugby league content from. Obviously, YKTR Sports, NRL Roast, myself, a bloke in a bar, like so many fantastic different outlets that you can go to get your rugby league content. And it's genuine rugby league content. It's not written by a 55-year-old sitting in an office watching the data of his clicks, trying to get more and more of it. It is just bullshit. that we are in this situation with Fox League and these sort of characters. It is crap, and the narrative is changing, and I would love to see Fox League and take out some accountability. At the moment, it's 11:15 Saturday morning. It's been radio fucking silence from Fox League. No one has come out and said, we fucked up, we made a mistake, it won't happen again. It is the absolute bare minimum that we hope to get from them. Absolute bare minimum, yeah? Even better would be to never do anything like this again. That'd be sensational. I think they probably have learned their lesson, but I mean, we've had these situations before. I saw another post earlier today where they put together a highlights package of Chad Townsend a few weeks ago when he missed 3 goals in a row and lost the game for the Cronulla Sharks. Or the Cronulla Sharks lost the game and they pinned it on Chad Townsend. I mean, why on earth would you make a post like that? It is just so backwards. It is unbelievable. I cannot believe that this sort of stuff is happening in rugby league. And for the vast majority, we kind of ignore it. It's bullshit. I mean, our game promotes mental health and positivity and all these things constantly, and then we've got Fox League making these sort of posts. It's embarrassing. And you know what? It's great that the new wave is coming. The tide is sort of changing. There's other outlets for you to get your rugby league from instead of this one juggernaut that sits above everyone else and makes their own rules just for clicks. And you know what? You know what the most unfortunate thing is? 4 years ago, before Bloke in a Bar with Big YKTR Spells, myself, NRL Roast, that would have probably been their highest click content. I was talking to another content creator this morning, and I won't mention his name because I don't know how vocal he wants to be about it, but I mean, and he said that to me. He said, you know what, it probably would have been their best content, realistically, because people love to eat up that negativity shit. People love to point the finger at these bad guys that the media creates for you. We love villains in rugby league. The media does a better job than anyone of creating these villains. And unfortunately, a lot of people jump on the bandwagon and want to give them shit because they're emotional after a game of football. I mean, I just don't understand how we've got to this point. And not even how we've got to this point, but how it's 2021 and we still have this sort of stuff happening. It honestly does blow me away. And I really hope Fox League has learned a lesson from this. I hope they come out and take accountability and say, hey, we fucked up. It was a terrible mistake. We apologise to Normie. We apologise to Rugby League for promoting that sort of negative behaviour. You have a look. I work in schools, yeah? The amount of cyberbullying that is going on and the effect it is having on young children and young people in our country, you go and have a look at the statistics, the amount of suicides that are coming off the back of cyberbullying, and here's Fox League making a heap of cyberbullying, making a cute, nice design out of it and posting it. It is just unbelievable. Oh, I'm sorry that I have got a little bit emotional about this, guys, but I don't understand how anyone can get away with this. I don't understand how just deleting a post can make everything okay again. It is just so backwards. It is so wrong. So wrong. I can't believe the stuff is still happening. Look, hopefully it's the last time we see it happen. Hopefully, you know, the new wave of new ways to get your rugby league content, hopefully it's starting to change, because you would never see myself, Roasty, Bloke in a Bar, Clark, like you would never see anyone else make this sort of content. And it's just bullshit. Why would anyone in their right mind make this sort of content about any human being? Why would you collect all the negativity about one person and then post it up there because you know it's going to get good clicks? It's going to completely ruin one person. And thank God Normie can handle this sort of shit solely because you've all been fucking pricks to him for so long that it won't have a huge effect on him. Or I surely hope it won't. But I would assume it won't have a huge effect on Normie because he's been through this before. He's been there. He's done it. He knows that next week there'll be a new guys to put shit on. It'll be Latrell Mitchell next week. It'll be someone else. There'll be someone else that'll come up that's another one of these villains. Normie's probably waiting for Jackson Hastings to arrive back in the NRL so he can be the guy again. It's just complete and utter bullshit, and I think we need to be better in rugby league. Sorry for the swearing, guys, but it really rubs me up the wrong way.